We are live on the air. This is the e-NABLE Q&A Hangout for the 2nd of March, 2015. And we have 5 people in the chat. Let's see. So I was starting to play around with the forums a little bit more detail. Now there's starting to be a lot more R&D posts on it, and there's some interesting topics coming up. One that I was actually, let's see, here it is. Let's see. There was one that was interesting that Les Hall posted that I thought might be interesting to Nick, actually. And it's this one where he was talking about distilling down a myoelectric control circuit from, he was using the one from Advancer Technologies, which is, I think, the same one that we were looking at on oh, I hate it when names of companies drop out of my head. SparkFun.
Mm. Yeah, it looks essentially the same. Yeah.
And he was talking about basically amplifier and resistor to increase the signal and to filter out the noise.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna do something simple like that, there isn't a lot of value in trying to replicate SparkFun style designs. I think a more interesting route would be to build something with a lot less filtering than those designs and feed that into a ARM chip or something similar and do some actually intelligent processing on it without without throwing away so much in the first step.
Yeah, do something to make more intelligent decisions about what's going on.
I still haven't taken a proper EE class. I guess you could do FFTs and all that in circuitry without worrying about doing it on a microprocessor, but it'd certainly be easier to fool around with on a little ARM chip.
Yeah.
I was vaguely considering. I was thinking about grip strength the other day. It's why I showed up in here actually, and I have the vague idea of using a variable cam to pull the cables. So I haven't really thought through how it even fits on a hand right now, but it'd be nice to be able to. Hang on, I can't see my own little screen. To be able to relate, say, this motion to a significant portion of closing the hand, and then a much larger motion to the last little bit, because you'd end up with, first of all, a much stronger grip when it's fully closed, because the effective mechanical advantage would be different, and you'd also have more precise control in the closed area. Because if you think about it, I don't think...
Oh, sorry. So you're thinking like just offsetting the axle a little bit from the edge of the circle?
Essentially putting an egg shape on the axle. Yeah. Because if you think about it, we're never using much force at all out here. I mean, like, I use that for rock climbing, but that's literally the only thing I can think of. And maybe like palming a basketball, but we don't really have the grippiness on the fingers to do that. So.
Right.
So there's no real advantage to grip strength or accuracy until you get to like here at least.
Right. The closer you get to your top dead center, the more horsepower you've got.
Well, that's true because of the elastics, but I'm saying it'd be nice to make it the opposite, to give yourself more force near the closure. I think your power is the same at all times. I don't really know how you apply that to this, but yeah, I think power stays the same. But anyways, that was my mad scheme for the day. I think you could probably do some trickery with putting the cam on the back of the wrist and then putting it through a cable so that the output of it wasn't affected by the bending of the wrist. Because then you'd have a normal cable that's pulled when you do this, pulling a circular pulley on a shared axle with your cam, and then the cam pulls a cable which actually controls the hands. And you could probably put, if you made that really compact somehow, you could probably put a variable grip thing on it still, presumably.
Yeah, you can put the variable grip on the tendon somewhere between where the tensioner is and where the gears are. Or where the
cams.
And the cams could be pretty simple. You could just have a round cam right against the egg-shaped cam.
Yep.
So that
yeah. I'm just not entirely sure how to fit it all in there. And in a similar vein, while we're talking about the variable grip thing, I still definitely like the idea of, and I'm pretty sure it still applies to, yeah. I still definitely like the idea of locking fingers somehow, so that we can disable some of them and focus all of the force into a pinch.
Okay.
And I feel like the lock would be pretty easy to do. Just, I don't know.
Just like a clamp
cable.
against.
Yeah. Although I guess we've had a bad time with clamps before not really being strong enough on those itty bitty little cables.
Yeah.
So you might want like a toothed clamp or something like that to kind of put some bends in it.
So your cam would be manually operated, not electrically.
Yeah. It'd probably be advantageous to do electrically as well. No. Maybe. So the nice thing about putting a cam like that on a servo is that you could have higher speed when you're closing out here. But if you're trying to max out force on a servo, you can get one that's continuously rotating, and you don't have to. You can use a much smaller gear ratio then. So I don't think.
If you use a worm drive on your gear on your motor.
Yeah.
Well, it won't. You can, once you stop your motor, it'll stay there.
Yeah, the in-move prosthetic, which is I think still not released, isn't it? The in-move prosthetic has worm drives inside of the hand. Actually, it's a very pretty little thing. I wish we could use it.
Yeah.
That's really good too.
What you were saying about with the offset cam and gears. That seems like that might be something. If the cam had teeth, it seems like that could be an easy way to transition from a tendon system for pulling into a system of gears for pulling the fingers down, similar to what one of the other versions of the in-move hand is doing. With instead of tendons going down the entire length of the finger, he's got gears at each of the joints.
I think gears like that are, well, no, I guess we're 3D printing them. Who cares? They're a little hard to design, but yeah, you could totally do that. So, yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the gears give you, I'm not sure if the gears buy you anything except maybe less friction.
Well, I think one of the things that the Gears Bayou is they require the finger as it bends to move uniformly,
Okay.
so that the proximal, the intermediate, the distal will be locked in position,
Right.
and they will not be able to be separated. They will be forced to move in unison.
I don't like fingers that do that for two reasons. You're packing a lot of complexity into the finger, which makes them either bulky or fragile, and you're I'm not sure that that's actually a good thing. I mean, there are situations where you want to do this sort of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's others where you want to be doing this. And
Right.
letting the hand adapt is nice. In an ideal world, the way it would work is sort of like a differential in a car, where they default to moving in unison, but when one meets more resistance, or one meets less resistance, the other one gets a little more attention.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a very tricky thing to come up with. Would be very cool if it could be done mechanically, but very tricky.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you enjoying school?
School's a great time. I joined Cornell Racing. We built a little Formula race car.
Oh, great.
Goes 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds.
Cool. Cool. I'm glad you're enjoying it. They're very lucky to have you.
Yeah, it's a fun time. And 3D printing research is going well. Got rid of some nasty bugs today. I'll probably be able to actually test things later this week.
Cool.
Other stuff from the forums, maybe? Other ideas?
Yeah, let's go take a look. I should screen share if I'm going to start browsing around.
I'm working on a new project. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it. It's a project I'm working on for Jeff Ernstone.
Okay.
He's got a person who was a welder. He was a TIG welder, which means, for those who don't know, TIG welding is where you hold the torch in one hand and you wire in the other. Tungsten and inert gas, as opposed to MIG, which is where it just feeds the wire. Anyway, this guy had a transhumeral amputation in a car accident, and he wants to get back to welding. And so I contacted Lincoln Electric, and I went over. Actually, the regional rep for the Midwest in the United States is based in Tulsa, which is where I'm at. So I went to see the guy, and super nice guy. So he gave me a TIG torch, and he gave me a little amp troll slide rheostat pot that's made to clip on. It's made for a MIG gun to control the heat adjustment on a MIG gun. And so what I'm going to try to do is I am going to repurpose this MIG gun. It's called a push-pull gun, which means that the motor is in the handle itself, not way down in the box. And so what I'm working on, if you've seen my post on this, is I've got a TIG torch and I've got this rheostat slide clipped onto the handle. So now he can hold the TIG torch and operate the slide with the same hand. I'm going to repurpose the heat control slide to become a wire speed control. And so I'm taking the push-pull MIG gun, and I'm taking all the cables and crap off of it, and I'm going to use the feed mechanism to basically become what's called a cold wire TIG feeder. And so what he'll do when he welds is they use a pedal to control the heat on the torch, and so that's his right foot. So as he's holding his torch in his right hand or in his left hand, I think he's lost his left arm. So he's going to hold his torch in his good hand and I'll be able to operate this rheostat slide with the same hand. Then I'm going to take this MIG gun and I'm going to adapt it so he can just slide his TIG wires into that and be able to control this. And then I'm going to mount that onto a socket that Jeff is building to go onto his humerus area of his arm. And he's got a real nice elbow that he's going to put on it. And so I'm going to make a mount to mount this used to be MIG gun, now cold wire feeder, onto his arm. So as he starts welding and he gets his torch down into position and hits his pedal and starts the torch, he can advance his wire on his other arm by using the slide on his torch handle. And I actually got a really cool email from Lincoln today, and they are very interested in this project. The last thing I need for this is a driver. I need to be able to interface my slide with a driver to control the DC drive on the wire feed. And so I need a driver for a 24-volt motor. This motor is only 2 to 3 amps. And so I think they're going to donate that as well. And they are really interested in this. In fact, they've asked to send somebody over to take some videos of my project. And they said that this is something that Lincoln would very much want to be involved in. And it sounds like they're on board to donate everything I need.
That's cool.
If it's just a brushed DC motor, you can also just PWM it with an Arduino.
Well, see, that's above my head. I don't, you know, I know enough about electronics just to get in trouble. And I don't know, from what little I know about it, normally you use a driver to drive the DC motor. Is that right?
Yeah, but that's all the driver does. It just has some nicer circuitry in it to do it a bit more smoothly.
Right.
Just turns it on and off really quick, which you can do with a big FET and a microcontroller of some sort. But it sounds like they've got you covered, so no need.
Yeah, yeah. Because there's obviously a driver or there's something in the box that controls the MIG gun normally anyway, and so all they have to do is pull one of those off the shelf and send it to me.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, should be cool.
Hey, that's really awesome. Good job.
Well, I should actually get off and do some other work for, school. But
Yeah,
good to talk to all of you. Best of luck with all that. I hope someone tries the cam thing. I haven't really got time. See everybody.
It's good to see you, Parker.
Yeah, good to see you again, Nick.
So, Arden, what are you working on? Could you introduce yourself?
Oh, sorry about that. I am a senior mechanical engineering student in Alabama. So
Great.
Currently we're just working on making a myoelectric or Arduino EMG powered hand, where it'll just go into a grip position. We're starting small and then going from there.
Have you seen the stuff that Christian Silva's doing?
I think I looked at. I'm still trying to remember people's names around here. There are a lot of them.
Yeah, he's a guy that did myoelectric, is using a flexi hand, looks like. Well, that's fantastic, Arden. If you probably don't know me, I'm the group toolmaker, machinist. So if you need anything special, I got my own tool and die shop. So if you need little special little parts or special little fasteners or whatever, let me know.
Oh, definitely will.
Okay. Pins, threaded fasteners, whatever you need.
All like 3D printed or just in general?
No, machined out of solid No, I don't do any 3D printing. I have a full manual machine shop, and I can make anything you need, and also I can get laser and water jet done for free.
Wow. Okay. You're set up then.
And I can also possibly get a little bit of CNC work done for you too.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for the offer. I'll definitely let you know if you need anything.
Okay.
I shared, or I mentioned Lydia in my response to a post that Arden shared with me about connecting or getting schools that want to be involved with e-NABLE. And I was wanting to know if you got that message, Lydia.
She's got her microphone turned off.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to talk to us, guys.
That's right. I'll pester people when we're offline. Yeah, there are several colleges that have been getting pretty involved with us. Obviously, RIT, because John's there, and
Crichton
University with
Frankie Flood and
yeah,
Skip
Okay.
Mintz and oh gosh, George Zuniga.
yes, yeah, and Mark Petrakowski.
Yeah, Mark Petrowski.
Yeah.
Where's Adam? What's his last name?
Arabian.
No. Let me see. See if I can.
Hello?
Hey, Les.
Hey, I'm jumping in the middle of things. I apologize for that. I'm laying in my bed with just a sheet on, so I'll keep the cam off.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's evening time in the nursing home here.
Yeah, I stuck with 7 o'clock, and my time zone changed. Or actually, it's been months since my time zone changed. The next change is coming up soon. I'm in Arizona, so our time zone doesn't change when daylight savings happens. So in the summer, I'm California time. In the winter, I'm Colorado time. So if it seems like I have a different scheduled time in the summer than I do in the winter, it's because I do.
As long as you can keep track of it. Well, I have some technology items to report, but I want to make sure everything that's directly hand-related gets talked about before I talk about my stuff.
Okay. Nick Parker was on earlier, and he and I and this Hangout have had a lot of interesting discussions about the Advancer and SparkFun EMG sensor. So we had some conversation with that. You might want to watch the video from the beginning to listen to some of that. We went and looked at some of your posts on the forum.
Okay. Oh, you took a look at some of my posts and discussed them a little bit.
Yeah, that talked about the EMG and reverse engineering the Advancer EMG sensor, which I think is the same one that SparkFun sells.
Ah, okay. Well, the key thing about the Advancer circuit is that it works.
Right.
So let's go with what works as far as that kind of thing. And also it's associated with a company that is run by someone who is e-NABLE friendly, and they can give discounts and work with us and everything. So,
right.
You know, I would definitely go with that sensor for those reasons. But looking at the sensor, I felt some sense of innovation, you know, to play with it and see if I could minimize it in some kind of way. And my intention there was not to upset the apple cart, but rather to hopefully spark some ideas at Advancer. And maybe Advancer would go, let me see, let's talk to this guy and see what he's made of. You know, you never know. I mean, why not innovate if you see the opportunity?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that was what we were talking about with Nick, is that the Advancer and the SparkFun EMG reader is basically an amplifier and a resistor. The amplifier to increase signal and the resistor to reduce noise. Nick was saying that if he had time, he would like to play with like a better CPU for handling the signals, and then see if we just increase the signal and don't filter out the noise, if maybe we could do something intelligent with the noise if we had like an ARM CPU processing the signal, which starts getting into complicated programming, which could be fun.
Well, I'm not too familiar with that sort of thing. I have done the Arduino programming for the AT-Tiny85, which you see me talk about a lot in those kind of posts.
Right.
But that's pretty slow stuff, and inaccurate in a time sense, you know. But you know, some of those simplified circuits might be all we need when we only need an on-off sense. You know, the reverse engineering part was not to, you know, there's obviously a lot of time and effort gone into that circuit, and it's very simple and effectively made, and for that reason we want to use that circuit. But because of that, it's great to learn from.
Does that signal? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, it looks like the signal we're dealing with is in the neighborhood of 1 millivolt or 1 to 10 millivolts. Is that right?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with electronics. My question was, is there a way to make the signal variable to get a variable output in order to have
oh yeah, absolutely.
so that
is
you
it
can
not
have
that way now?
less, more maximum.
More signal generates more
force on the motor, or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, probably to do that with what Nick was talking about with PWM to adjust the speed of the motor.
Yeah, with my super minimal approach that I was looking at with the oscillator circuit deal, that's a variable approach.
Would it be possible to use something like a load cell or a strain gauge that would give you a variable signal? Like I actually saw something somebody had. It was like a little patch that you put on your skin, and it was not an EMT sensor. It was a pressure sensor. Would there be wisdom to pursuing something like that?
Yeah, well, what we're talking about is a muscle motion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, because, you know, I recently looked at a brainwave sensor, and what I was taught was that the electrical impulses from the muscles often override it. But when we're talking about EMT, there's physical motion. I mean, just move your forearm or flex your bicep, and you can see it changing. So if you were to take like a force-sensitive resistor and put it on a band, you would see that vary as a function of time in an analog way when the muscle, you know what I mean?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so we can explore those alternatives as well. I would include a force-sensitive resistor as one of the alternatives. Pressure sensor is definitely something to look at for sure. even cookie arrangements like a lemonade battery cell. As you flex, you move the zinc and the copper electrodes further away and get a different voltage output. You know, I mean, so there's lots of room for experimentation, and the more we know, the better it is. I could be a person who could explore with some of those sensor thingies, possibly. The thing
I'll tell you
is,
what, Les, why don't you send me your email address? And I have an engineer that I work with. He's got a PhD in electrical and mechanical engineering, and this guy's freaking smart.
okay.
And I was talking to him at one time when I was kind of involved in myoelectrics a little bit, and he told me he found a sensor that it's just a pressure sensor. The more pressure you put on it, the more voltage it puts through. And it's only a physical sensor. And so the tighter you tighten your muscle against the socket, the more pressure it puts on the switch and the more voltage it applies to your servo or whatever you're using.
Sure, I'd love to talk to the guy.
Okay, I'll hook you up with him.
Okay, let me put my email in the sidebar.
My email address is on my profile, or I can try to get it from you here.
Can you initiate the contact? Because
I'll just send you a what do you call that a little chat thing, and I'll send you my email address like that.
Okay.
I
I think that should be correct. I'm not sure. Things of rings at iCloud.com. Okay, I'd love to get hooked up with him. And if we can get hooked up with someone who is in a lab who can do soldering and whatnot, because I'm in a nursing home and I have a ton of projects going on too. So I have time, but I don't have my normal ability. I mean, I can 3D print and I can do software, but I don't have, I have zero financial resources because they take my check at the nursing home. And then I have because of that, I can't like order parts, and I can't solder because there's oxygen machines here. You know,
Right.
so basically, I need hands and feet kind of thing.
I got you.
But I'm very happy to. On the flip side, I'm good with circuits. You know, I have masters in electrical, and you know, I'm just like all the people around here. I'm a pretty smart individual, right? And I'm good at certain things, and not good at other things.
Sure.
Like I'm real good at minimizing systems and getting to the nature of something and boiling it down to its essence.
Right.
You know, and I'm not good at things like GitHub. You know.
One thing that I've found, a lot of suppliers are willing to give me stuff. I mean, like Lincoln Electric has already given me $2,000 worth of stuff, and they're getting ready to give me another $500 component that I'm using for this project that I'm working on. I might be able to enlist your help in coming up with a circuit to do my welding arm.
Okay, sure. I'd love to work on that.
Okay,
Definitely.
I need to convert a signal from a slide rheostat to a DC, a 24 volt, 2 amp motor, and I've been told that I need a driver for that, a DC driver. You know how to use that?
Yeah, you need like an H-bridge driver or something.
Yeah, they're going to give me
appropriate size.
And they're going to give me that. I might get with you and having you help me construct a circuit for that.
How to hook it up and stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, the amount that I know about electronics is it has electric in it and it's got wires on it. And that's about the extent of my knowledge.
Okay, no problem. I work with lay people because I'm from a family of truck drivers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I grew up on the truck, sweating and grime in my nose and in between my pores and all that stuff. So I know the working man's, and I put myself through college and stuff.
Okay.
So, and also I communicate with the ivory tower folks. You know, I don't belong in either world. In the truck drivers think I'm an egghead, and the eggheads think I'm a truck driver. So,
Yeah.
I'm a good go-between, though.
Yeah.
I can talk
Okay.
your language, and I can talk their language.
Great. Excellent. Because I know, like I said, I know just about enough electronics to keep me in trouble, and that's about it.
Okay, so in the effort of keeping things brief for those who might be watching and not overly interested in any one particular topic, let's take this offline.
Okay.
We'll have an exchange.
Okay.
And
I'll kind of know.
I did want to the young girl who's involved in the college project.
Yes.
I wanted to ask her if they need any assistance in working on that project, because I know when you're working on a college project, you can run into barriers and sticking points, and it's good to have other people that you can go to who can give you a little push.
Sure.
Oh, sorry, I was asking you for a few seconds. So right now we're just running into the problem where we're still trying to learn out what's going on with Arduinos. Like we have a class in it, but we don't know like how to run from the EMG output. Sorry, I'm loud.
That's right.
No, it's okay. You're having trouble with Arduinos.
Yeah, it's more of we get the basics. We can get the EMG to the DMM, but then and we can see the reading. It's great. I've got great testing material. But I guess the problem is getting the EMG from the analog or from digital to analog to power the servo motor.
So you want to use an Arduino to do that. Okay, any one of us can help you with that. That's not a problem.
Have you seen the EMG sensor that we were talking about earlier from Advancer?
That's exactly the system that we're using. We're using the SparkFun Advancer system. They're running the EMG through into there, coming out. We got all the readings off of a multimeter, but then we're trying to take from that, going into the Arduino board, going into the Arduino board, and then going out into the servo motor.
What did you say? Was somebody teasing you or something?
No, my roommate sneezed.
Your roommate sneezed. Oh, okay. Yeah, we can all, any one of us can help you with that, because a lot of us have that kind of. I'll help you if you can get me on Skype. I can talk you through some of the basics of how an Arduino works and what you need to do, give you a website, things like that.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, you
sorry.
Google. Yeah, you could use Google Hangouts too, Les.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's use Google Hangout instead of Skype, because that's what we do here.
Well, we all know that it works for us already.
Yeah.
It's much better for this anyway, your group thing.
So that link I just put in the sidebar chat is to the Advancer Technologies website talking about their muscle sensor, and it has a link to documentation and example code for programming Arduinos, I suspect, to
it actually has the hello world and everything.
Sorry, say again?
Like we had to take a class, and I think it has like the Arduino page goes to like the hello world, like the starter kit, or something like that.
Okay. So you've done the hello world kind of thing.
Like we've taken a class which involves Arduinos, we're just not that skilled in it, so we've never tried to convert from the advancer component into where we're getting the voltage, trying to get it out to a servo motor. We've just never done that before, so it's kind of
you followed instructions, but you haven't innovated on your own yet.
Exactly. It was on like a lab setting.
And it's a big leap for you.
This is the link. The link I'm posting right now is the sample code that they have showing how to use an Arduino to convert the signal coming off of the EMG sensor into a barcode. Is this the Hello World that you were talking about, or is there another one elsewhere that I'm not seeing?
One sec, let me look at it. My internet is really slow, so this may take a while.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead. Arden, I'm going to go ahead and take off. Also, I'm really well versed in mechanical design. I do SolidWorks. I'm a 40-year tool maker. So if you need any help with design, holler at me.
Bob,
okay, definitely. Thank you so much.
When you get to talking to me, I can use mechanical help on some things.
Be glad to help. Glad to help.
Okay, we'll collaborate.
What's your last name, Les?
Hall, H-A-L-L.
Yeah. I know who you are. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, cool. We'll talk.
Okay. Take care, guys.
All right, bye.
Good talking to you, Bob.
You too. See you guys. Good to meet you, Arden.
Nice to meet you too.
Bye, honey.
All right. See you.
Okay, I just saw that. I had not seen that before, so I was probably looking in the wrong place and was just looking at the general Arduino programming. But yeah, I haven't seen that.
When you say the Hello World, are you talking about the Blink program?
Yep, basically. We did like Hello World. We worked a little bit with motors, but very minimal and always in a straight, here's what you're doing, here's the programming that you put in.
Yeah, they tell you everything, and it's almost boiled down to be too simple. They should, well, I don't know what they should do. The problem is that when you're in school, you're drinking water from a fire hose. You got knowledge coming at you from every direction, and it's an intense sink or swim situation. So they have to try to make some things simple so that the good thing is you got some Arduino exposure.
Yes, sir.
You know what an Arduino is. It's not like make-believe mumbo-jumbo to you or words that are passing by, where you say, okay, it's a processor, it's got inputs and outputs in a program and sensors and results. You got the foundation. We just have to build on that foundation now. And that's where I can come in and help you.
Yeah, that first link I sent you to the Advancer Technologies muscle sensor, the second link I sent you is a little bit of browsing in the section that says documents where they have sample code.
Oh, okay, perfect.
And I think there are other examples in there. I don't know how much, though. There was some documentation that might be helpful.
I would suggest saving these links and relaying them to me. I don't have time to be. Not time, but I'm so overwhelmed. But if you can relay them back to me, and we communicate.
I will copy and paste them into a Google document, and I'll put a link. I'll post the link to that Google document into the Hangout announcement.
I meant for Arden, but if you want to do it, you're welcome to. But so, John, I'm just volunteering to help with the kids and the college class. I don't want to call them kids, the young adults.
Go for it. People tell me I look like I'm 18, so call me whatever you want. You're good.
Okay. The aspiring super nerds.
There you go.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna yield the mic to John now. Let's see if he wants to say something.
Hey, John.
He doesn't.
You may have stepped away for a second.
Okay. All right. So, do we have other direct hand business, or can I talk about other stuff?
I had mentioned a few things in my announcement, but as always, I don't actually have an agenda. I'm just making possible suggestions. I noticed that Elizabeth had released her Airy-Arm, more video of her Airy-Arm. I was hoping that she'd be able to join us tonight, but she's probably, being in college means she's probably busy.
Yeah.
So they've gotten a little bit farther on that?
Yeah, there was another, she posted another video today showing current state of things with some, I don't know, I haven't seen STLs that I can print yet, but that doesn't mean they don't exist yet. She was showing that she was printing parts of it out of PLA so that it could be thermoformed to her arm, and the other parts were being printed out of ABS because it was more rigid and could didn't need to be thermoformed. And it was kind of interesting, and she was demonstrating it. That was earlier this afternoon. Elizabeth Jackson.
Yeah.
So yeah, what were you wanting to talk about, Les?
The main thing, the biggest thing this week that in my technological advancement, well, there's two things. The first one has to do with my role in working with e-NABLE, and I'll discuss that with Laird before really getting into it much. But basically, I'm not sure if working with OpenSCAD is where I'm best utilized.
Right.
I've been the assignments I've been given, I've been feeling like they're work or a drudgery. Even though I had the best interactions with Laird, I mean, I love Laird. I want to stay working under Laird, but I want to do more R&D stuff than handematic stuff.
Yeah, the OpenSCAD definitely more appealing to us code monkeys than it is to people with the more electrical and engineering backgrounds.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I've been running OpenSCAD for 6-8 months now, and I love it. It's the foundation of my 3D creation methodology, personally myself. It's just that GitHub. Well, the real issue has to do with GitHub, and it turns out that I was talking to a friend, and I started talking about GitHub, and all these really bad memories came back of times that I don't want to even discuss, and it's stuff like personal stuff, and I have a mental block on GitHub. I really do. I was once tasked with setting up not a GitHub repository, because this was before GitHub existed, but a design repository, and choosing the repository, and it turned into a corporate battle that caused me to lose the highest paying job I ever had.
Oh yeah,
and the last job I ever had. I mean, and it goes into roots of managers using fear to control employees, and the dysfunctionality that echoes and reverberates throughout the workforce from that, and all that stuff.
A lot of emotion involved in decisions related to version control systems, and it's weird how often in the corporate space those arguments get very, very heated. And yeah, I don't know.
You're totally with me, Trouble.
There are so many options for revision control, and they all basically do the same thing. So I'll use whatever the company I'm working for is wanting to use, but I try to avoid making that decision for other people.
Yeah, because a lot of it has to do with employee control, not revision control.
Right.
You know, snapping the whip and cracking the whip and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So deep-seated emotions of people come out and hurt you, and oh my gosh. But let's not focus on those kind of things. Let me talk about something fun, something amazing, something incredibly powerful. Okay? And it's related to the hands because we can control hands and arms with it. Okay?
Okay.
I want to talk to you about the leap motion sensor.
Yeah, I've got one.
You got one?
I have one right here, actually.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. See that little thing?
Mm-hmm.
That cost $80. That's all it costs. It's a very solidly well constructed. I cannot tell you more good things about how this company has done. Every time I think about an aspect of it, every time I run into something new about it, it's just all pure perfection. I could not have done it better if I were running the company myself, and I probably would not have done it as good as they did.
And what does it do?
It's
what it does. Oh, you tell Trouble.
Yeah, sorry. Do you remember? Oh, okay. So it allows you to control your computer by waving your hands around. It's able to create a model of a hand from what your hands look like when you're over it. So you can do things like move windows aside or click things, or it's just a way of it's got little infrared LEDs and infrared cameras that can track position of your hands and can create a model of a hand that they can track what each finger's doing and things like that. If you have normal hands, it works really well. It doesn't track my left hand so well. It doesn't recognize it as a hand. It thinks it's my head or an object or something.
But if what I'm getting to is, it can track a single hand, and then we can send that information to an Arduino that's controlling an artificial hand, and then the one hand can control the other hand.
That makes sense.
So it depends on what we want to do with them. I mean, for example, would it make sense to have both hands reach for a glass, and the one hand copies the other hand in doing so?
Not usually.
What about, well, I guess let's talk about
mirroring for a lot of two-handed
where this technology is going, because I saw a video, okay, 18-minute video of a talk that the CTO of the company gave.
Right.
And in that video, he talks about where they're going. So right now they're tracking hands, but ultimately they're going to track the entire body. They're going to take this sensor and put it on an Oculus Rift, and it's going to track other people's bodies.
So that it can recognize where people around you are in relation to you.
Yes, and it's going to track the motion of other physical objects. Pretty much everything in your environment is going to be tracked and told to the computer through sensors like this.
Yeah. It's a lot like the Kinect for the Xbox, but it's for your PC and much more compact.
So I'm not necessarily imagining exactly how right now, but I think it can be used to control exoskeletons and artificial limbs and certainly a hand opening and closing somehow.
Right. I can see it being used for like Waldo's, for like telepresence, for like controlling a remote hand. I don't know if using one hand to control the other hand, I'm not sure how you would be able to do that in a fashion that would be super useful. Like a lot of things that you do with your hands are like driving. One hand goes up when the other goes down, and that, if you could do a hand sign to signal that you're driving and have the leap motion then do a different kind of mirroring. But even then, you let go with one hand to change the shifter or to hit the blinker, and I'm not sure.
I can see it. I can see it working like that, where, you know, you're in an augmented reality program. All right, let's say you were to take your right hand and tie it behind your back, and you have an artificial limb on you, and you're in an augmented reality program where it's not so, the augmentation is through an artificial limb.
Right.
And then the program, the software knows that you're driving a car. So it's going to...
So it knows by context to change how it interacts with what your hand is doing.
Yeah, and it knows to do the opposite thing on the steering wheel thing. And it knows that when you're well, let's say we're in England and we use our left hand to shift, because I said that the right hand was artificial. So it knows, or you can say gear 1. You signal gear 1 somehow, and it shifts with the right hand. I don't know. You know, there's or like driving is a bit of a challenging situation, but say riding a bike, or balancing on a skateboard, where you might want your arms to work in opposition, or just walking. Just walking. When the right arm swings forward, you want the left arm to swing back, and vice versa. And you've got a camera that sees when the left arm is advancing forward. You know, it's sensing the rhythm. You see what I mean?
Yeah. One of the things I was thinking that these would be really useful for, but I haven't been able to figure out how to do it, is it would be nice if you could use these for scanning 3D models, for like getting an image of a hand, so you could get. You'd have to scale it after you scanned it, because I don't think that there'd be an easy way for it to, I don't know, use a coin for reference or stuff like that. But you could get enough about what the object you're scanning looks like to maybe create a 3D model of things. But I don't know that it sees in that fashion. I think that there's some pre-processing done to recognize hands inside the sensor, and I'm not certain.
I think Arden's been chomping at the bit to say something.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Give her the floor.
No, you're fine. I was just wondering, are you guys talking about using it as an arm or a hand? Because I mean, walking is going to be totally different if you have an arm, and walking would be totally different if you have a hand. I mean.
Oh yeah, I think we're speaking very vaguely.
Yeah,
and
very
trying to think of. Oh yeah, we're brainstorming and not coming up with a lot, so we're kind of reaching for it in certain cases.
Okay, that's fine. I was just wondering, because I mean, if you're gonna basically do a copycat move, it's gonna be very hard. If you're working with an entire arm, I mean, you can do it, but it's gonna be a lot more difficult.
Right.
Okay. So, well, I could see like sports applications where you're looking at you're looking at one hand, and the other hand has to not quite follow, but behave in a complementary way. You know, swinging a golf club or a baseball bat or a tennis racket.
and this all leads back to the basic problem I've been having with the Leap motion controllers, which is that the possibilities are so big that I get caught up in that and not into thinking of specifics. I get a little bit bogged down. When I start to think about how would I actually use this to control another hand, I start getting, I start losing context. And
so it sounds a little out of whack. Would it make sense? Do we have time, maybe for me to do a little screen share demo of the Leap motion sensor?
Sure.
Okay. I'll try to be as quick as I can. So let me put my screen share on. I'm screen sharing. Okay. And there I'm looking at trouble. Actually, I have not started. I'm going to have to go into my applications folder and find this app because I had just recently rebooted my computer.
Oh, so it's not running in the background at the moment?
Leap Motion app home.
Okay,
That's it. Yeah, it's not running in the background, but here we go. Here it is. What's that, Artie?
I got it right, so I got to head out. But I'll talk to you later less about Arduino stuff. And Trouble, I'll post in the education section, but let me know if you can think of anything else for ideas.
I will do so. Yeah, it's probably a good idea for you to talk to the guys at Creighton and maybe to the guys down in, I think it's University of Florida.
Okay.
And definitely worth talking to John. John Scholl.
Okay. I can find him anywhere on e-NABLE, basically.
Yeah, John's the head honcho.
Oh, yeah, I saw him. My bad.
Yeah.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
perfect. All right, bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us, Arden.
Thanks, guys.
So, you can see what I'm doing. I'm operating this menu. I'm waving my index finger in the air to do this. I just told this device to spin, and I just told it to give me symmetry. Let me move it around a little bit. I extend my fingers out and hold my hand in a open way to move it around like this, and then I close my fist to lock it into place, and then I extend my finger, and once I start to, I can carve this thing.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know, it doesn't seem like such a big deal to a researcher type, I guess, because you've seen this kind of thing going on for a while. But to me, I mean, being not so much a researcher, I just made this mushroom shape. It's just astonishing.
Basically
it's just
carving
truly
it out
amazing.
of the air in front of you.
Yeah, it's this stuff was supposed to happen around this time frame, and now it is. It really is. We didn't get our flying cars and our hoverboards and our robots, but you know what? We're starting to get those too. And this kind of stuff we're getting. And let me let's see.
I'm not wearing
real
my pants
quick.
inside out, even though it is 2015.
What's that?
So I'm still not wearing my pants inside out, even though it is 2015.
No doubt.
Well, so does everyone get the idea on this modeling app?
Yeah.
So let me see if I can get out of here and go show you the playground that I think they show it on TV.
Yeah, with the hands adjusting things.
Yeah. Well, and then I'll show you a little bit of code. So this first part, these are my hands, and I'm holding my hands up. My hands are a little too big for this thing. It doesn't track them properly. But if I hold my hands way up, it does a better job of it.
Yeah, you need to be a higher distance away from the controller than I find comfortable sometimes. They're talking like a 7-inch distance for a good control.
Oh, I have to be about 1.5 feet away.
Yeah, sounds about right.
But so, you know, it knows the position and orientation of every joint in the hand and every segment in the hand.
Right.
So there's that. And then there's this cutesy thing where you grab these, let's see here. Come on, that's not a left hand, that's a right hand. You grab these blocks, which I'm not too good at, and you put them on the robots. And here comes another robot. And this happens 4 times, but I'll advance. And then here we have the she loves me not thing.
You pull the leaves off the petals off the flower.
You can, what's that?
Where you pull the petals off the flower?
Yeah, you can pull the petals off the flower. Or you can actually pick the, if you do it right, you can pick the flower up and drop it in the water. And that's the end of the demo. And the last thing I'll show you is something for us programmers, the processing programming interface for the leap motion sensor. There are 2 libraries. I'm using one of them. Here's processing. Examples. There are leap motion examples for doing all kind of stuff. And they're pretty basic, but they get you started. And let's look at no, that's not. I called it leapfrog, I think I called it. And here we import these various, there's a controller, finger, hand, and so on. And then you do things like, here is leap motion, leap to sketch X, position, get X, and so on. And what I've done here is made a mouse controller. So there's the mouse in the upper left, and you can see that when I move my hand around the leap sensor environment, it's not calibrated for the full screen right now, you know. And then I can see I just moved my finger up and down, and it clicked on the leap background here. Like I don't know if I can get this accurately enough. Let's see here. Let me try to click it closed. It's too small.
Right. The motion the motion for click moves the cursor too much to easily hit those small buttons.
Yeah, but you get the idea. Let me Alt-Tab. And back to this, you see the mouse moving when the hand moves. So this Better Touch tool is their way of doing that and much, much more. But it's complex to learn to use it.
Yeah.
You see it in a moment. And that's, you know, aside from a bunch of really cool games, 3D Tetris and whatnot, you know, it's the software is just beginning to become available.
Yeah.
But let me leave screen sharing and call that a demo.
Thanks for
I know you've seen all that trouble, but and we lost everybody but Lydia.
That's all right. There wasn't very many people left tonight anyway.
Okay.
Arden was the only other that was with us, and she was needing to leave for getting some things done for school.
Have you seen that before, Lydia?
No, I hadn't. It sounds like it would be quite interesting to experiment with.
Yeah,
yes.
It's fun.
I'm loving programming it. I really don't understand anything but the very basics of the programming, but that's enough to get me really motivated.
Yeah. They also have enough good examples of how to use the different functions so that you can learn a little bit more quickly.
Well, I need to get into those examples. I'm just using the processing examples, which are few and limited. But
right.
You know what I'm going to do with it? I've got a server that I pay $10 a month for, right? Just a simple little server for bouncing signals off of. And I've got these flying, battle drones in Second Life that I've been working on for about a week and a half as recreation. They're really cool. And they fight each other. You just put down a reser, and it reses 2 to 5 of them, and they start. I actually gave them my own voice, so when they shoot, they go pew pew pew, evade, pew pew evade, with my own voice, and then they go, like, when they get down to low hit points, they go kamikaze, and they crash into each other. It's childlike entertainment, but I love it. And what I want to do is use the leap motion sensor to control them with my hands in flight. So here we have the motion sensor talking to its library, a processing sketch, like what you just saw moving the mouse around, actually sending that data to the server, and then the server sends it into in-world to the individual drones, and then the drones are flying around in formation at the fingertips of my hand. And this is a precursor to being able to control real drones with your hands in flight. So, you know, I'm kind of, this is more of a long-term project and not so much
now you're showing
hand-related.
Actually pretty interesting. Using the leap motion controller mounted on your heads-up display or your
Oculus
Rift, and using that to control drones with cameras. Now you have a first-person view from the drone, and you're using your hands to steer it around.
And then the drones have
hands also.
The drones together could have what?
Could have hands, so that they could be able to reach out and grab things while you're floating around.
And they can sense your environment stereoscopically, right? So by flying around, they're trained to circle around or whatever they need to do to create the 3D virtual world that they're in. So like Maybe you live in a bad neighborhood. You want to look outside and get a 3D map and see the guy hiding behind the bushes. Or maybe you're an athlete and you want to scope out the field.
Or maybe you're my brother who has ankylosing spondylitis and can't leave the house very easily. So being able to use Oculus Rift to pilot outside to go see what's going on over at campus might be the kind of thing you would want to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're in a nursing home, so you're aware of all the
limitations. Some of the things that these people have. In fact, my roommate is a person who. Oh, what you got?
My phone. Hold on.
Your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figure a droid should sound like a droid.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna go mute.
Okay.
Well, guys.
So, Lydia, time to wrap it up, huh?
Well, I got to get going. I mean, you guys can keep going, but you got to remember this is live, so it's up to you how much of this you want recorded.
Oh, you know, you know me.
Yeah.
So, as far as I'm concerned, my life is an open book. So I don't care what I talk about. But you may want to restrict me, restrain me. But yeah, let's just call it wrap. What do you think, Trouble? You got more you want to discuss with me?
I think we covered a lot of things. I didn't go into the stuff that you was talking about earlier, or that he was chatting with me about in his email. But we did get a chance to kind of browse around through the forums and see what was there, and that was kind of fun. I'm going to have to apologize to you because I wanted to go into a lot more detail about the things that he had sent in his email to me, and I kind of didn't. I don't really control these conversations. I kind of follow them.
Okay, well, that's almost a yes.
Yeah, I think I've got everything. I think I've got everything we can expect to accomplish tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for giving us a quick tour of the Leap Motion. It's interesting seeing it on the Mac environment. It's okay in the Windows environment, but it's kind of deficient in the Linux environment. They don't have a lot of good apps using it on the Linux side. And I kind of wish that they had better support for Android, because I can afford Google Cardboard a lot more likely than I can afford Oculus Rift.
Oh, hey, processing targets to Android. Did you? Or you probably knew that.
No, I didn't.
Oh yeah, I've written Android programs in processing. You use the Katai library. It's called Katai.
Okay.
Why don't we close the thing and I'll talk to Trouble about that real quick.
All right, I will shut the broadcast down.
Okay.
All right, thanks for joining
Bye,
us, everybody.
everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Lydia.
Bye.